Hi, I'm Mike Walsh, CEO and founder of Leverage Software, and I'm here with Charlene Li, Principal Analyst and Vice President from Forrester Research. Thanks, Charlene. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Charlene, just wanted to cover a few things in the book. So you've got some great information in there, some great case studies. I love the book. Of the work that you do in your analyst work, how many of the people that you meet with, how many people do you think are kind of getting it right? What percentage?
I think very small percentages right now. This is really, really hard, and you see
Sure.
that in
Yep.
your client work too. A tremendous amount of interest, tremendous amount of well-placed intentions, and oftentimes, though, as most people are when they get with these new technologies, they don't get it right the first time.
Sure.
But I see what I'm really encouraged by is that people are really approaching it the right way now, instead
Right.
of rushing into things and thinking, well, I just got to get a blog out there, get a social network out there or something.
Yep.
They're really stepping back and saying, what do I really want to accomplish with this?
Yep, sure.
That is the most important first step.
Yep.
And the fact that they're even taking that step and taking the time to do that, showing a maturation of the industry.
Right. We're a technology vendor. We also do some strategic consulting work, but primarily we're a technology vendor, and based on the concepts in your book, we're actually recommending to our prospects that they kind of sit back and not dive right into the technology, where it really should be the last piece of the decision to make.
That's right.
So thanks for that. Twitter's three doors down. They're at 164 South Park. We're here at 150 South Park. I find it to be an incredibly useful tool. Do you see either personal or business use cases on a daily
Yes,
basis?
many use cases. My colleague Jeremiah Yang is one of the top Twitterers. So I can tell when he wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, sure.
And so I know I can ping him. So it's very useful from a personal point of view when I can call him, actually, because we're both
Right.
early risers. So that's quite useful. It's sort of an anecdote.
Yep, I see the same thing with Jeremiah, actually.
Exactly. And but the thing I find most interesting about it is people look at this and go like, why would I care? And the biggest thing that they don't understand is that it has to have context.
Right.
Twitter is amazingly interesting when you have context, either in a work situation or an event situation or people that you know and care about and want to follow. If you're looking at the Twitter of somebody who you don't care about and they're twittering about seemingly inconsequential things, you wouldn't care.
Right.
But if you're somebody who is like following that person, or because you're interested in what they're doing, because you need to meet up with them later on at 3 o'clock when they're free or not free, then having that Twitter is great. So I think the best use case is in the workplace.
Yep.
And so to be able to work with my work team and know what they're doing without having to do management by walking around.
Yeah, it's a
Me
great
as a
point.
manager can just sit down and see what everyone's working on, thinking about, making sure everyone's happy. You know, that's a great way to keep your finger on the pulse of the people you care about.
Sure, it makes sense. And there's a lot of great material, as we talked about in the book. What are the things that, since the book was written and the project was delivered, what kind of new things have come up that you wish were in the book, or you wish?
Yeah, it's some of my current research right now is on the future of social networks. And we have, in the last chapter, we sort of paint this picture of what it looks like of social networks everywhere. But we couldn't really put out how we would get there.
Sure.
And now we actually have the sort of map of how it potentially could happen with open social, data portability, open ID, OAuth, all these new technologies that came out right about when we were finishing the book, and
Right.
we couldn't rewrite the book at that point.
Yeah, sure.
So, but it is this concept that in this world, 5 years from now, they will be everywhere, and we'll look back to this time when we had to go someplace to be social.
Yep.
As very quaint and antiquated.
Right.
Like, you remember those days when we had to go to Facebook
Yeah,
to
destination.
connect with people?
Yeah.
Versus Facebook coming to me, or Twitter being. I think Twitter is a great indication of that. Twitter's everywhere.
Right,
You
yep.
want it to be sort of
Yep.
like Visa.
Yep. We're actually seeing quite a bit of that now. We've got this widget toolkit, so many of our clients want to federate the content wherever they think that it will be consumed. So as you pointed out, Facebook, or it could be on a blog, or just take it from inside the social network and really just layer it anywhere. Right? So how do you think you would have allocated your time had you not been working on the book?
That's a good question. I think I would have written more research, more in-depth research for Forrester, because all the research that we did went into the book. And so it was a huge sucking sound of all the examples going into that. And we were doing things like the social technographics ladder that was published in the midst of writing the book. So we were writing the book and publishing things conjointly at the same time.
I see.
So I think I would have developed a bigger body of research. I would have had more sleep, I think,
Right.
frankly. But I have to say, there was a book inside me that needed to get out, which is why I wanted to do this. There was a bigger story to tell around the whole phenomenon that just doesn't fit inside the up to 20 pages of a Forrester report.
Right.
And most importantly, I felt like there was this group of people, leaders, basically, who we wrote the book for, who were really being stressed about what to do and how to understand the space. Oftentimes when I talk to them, and you talk to them all the time, it feels like you're describing this alien world to them. And like, over here, this is what they do.
But it's happening so fast, as you pointed out in the book. It's just happening so fast that they need a digest, and they probably, the frequency of having that information is just going to increase.
Yeah, and so I wanted to write a book that would explain it to them
Sure.
in their language. It's a general business book. It is not a technology book.
Right.
And it's written for leaders who feel like they're losing control.
Yep.
And we know these people. We feel it ourselves every day.
Yes,
It's like
sure.
spinning out of control. So want to put into one place all the frameworks, ideas, one neat package, and we couldn't do that in 20 pages.
Right.
You need a book to
Well, you
say
did a
that.
great job on it.
Well, thanks.
We as you may know, we actually send it out to our existing and future clients because we think it's just a great base for making decisions around this. And we send it out to future clients because if they decide not to use our tool, we still want them to get it right. I think it's good for the industry. It's good for their companies. Really, any questions that you would like your audience to ask you as posts on a video, say in the comments section that you
Yeah,
can get.
I mean, what I would like to hear, two things from people who read the book. What's missing? Because there will be further work behind this. No book is perfect. So what else would they want us to go deeper into to give us more information in terms of, what more research needs to be done?
Right.
And that'll inform me, but also all the other people who are in this space. So there's a lot of work to be done. How do we prioritize? What are the greatest needs that people have out there? So what do they need more of? More information, more research, more data on?
Right.
And the second thing is we're always looking for examples.
Yep.
One of the things that we had to do in the book, we talked about the post process. We talk about people and objectives. We don't go into strategy in detail at all.
Yep.
And that's partly because it just wasn't the right time to write about it, but I can imagine that there's going to be a lot of focus on how do you actually fulfill these things? What are some of the details? And we have a lot of case studies that talk about it, but not a detailed strategy process. So I would love case studies that people talk about. How did you go about the strategy? How was it formulated today from 2 years ago? And move forward. We have one case study that goes from beginning to end, which is Dell, that lays out that strategy of how you pull it all together.
Yeah, and it would probably be interesting too to talk with some folks or get some information back about failures and then recoveries in different initiatives that they may have had.
Yeah, because our publishers, Harvard Business Press, they're one of the few publishers that actually send out the book for peer review. And one of the big feedbacks that we got was, we need more failures.
Right.
And so we went back and audit all these
wanna
failures
know what
along
not
the
to do
way.
here.
Yeah, and so what can go wrong?
Okay, so a sequel coming?
I hope so. I mean, there's another book inside me, definitely. I enjoyed the process so much. I don't know if it's a sequel or a different topic or a workbook or whatever, but we're just trying to get this one off the ground still.
Sure, you've got plenty of work
But yeah,
to do.
we're already starting to think about it.
Great, yeah. I can't imagine. I admire any author. I don't know how you take the time to sit down and just crank through the amount of work that has to be done. So
Thanks.
thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me again.
Okay.